Hey, how's it going, everybody? Happy Ramachandra Vijay celebration. And yes, I shaved the head. It was not exactly for the purpose of of this festival. I was planning just to trim the head, but then things didn't work as planned, so I just decided to shave the head completely. Thank you so much for joining. I'm happy to be here with you already. Whoever, Jayan, top of the list, Mobile, JG, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Karos. Nice to see you. What do you think, Karos, about my new haircut? Dusha, Dushahera, right? That's another name for the celebration. Hari Hari. Let me know where you're from. Where are you watching the video from? Work or from what place in your life? Where do I catch you with the spontaneous stream? Let's put the lens so we see each other better. And yes, today's a special day. It's the day when Lord Ramachandra conquered Lanka, defeated Ravan, took back Sita, and a few weeks from now we're gonna celebrate Deepawali. Is I heard that's like the largest celebration all over India. So why don't we go ahead, and while I'm waiting for all of you to join, we're going to do a little chanting. You can take the time to invite your friends. We'll get ready. We're going to read too from the Ramayana. I have here I have actually here the edition of the Ramayana that I read both on Kindle and both on in a physical copy. So we're going to read from both. Hare Krishna from Ayodhya, epic. Ipan, thank you for. Yes, Ipan, he commented a few times. He asked me to shave the head, and actually I didn't shave the head because he asked me. I was planning just to trim the head. Yeah, and then things kind of went wrong. I guess it's Krishna's desire, and then I ended up shaving the head. But I was planning just to trim the head. Who likes my new haircut? Oh, thanks, Epics. Thanks for trying to make my channel more popular. I look like Janan Bruno. Okay, well, if Krishna likes, that's the most important. Ultimately, you can be Hare Krishna with shaving your head, without shaving your head. It doesn't matter. The most important is the consciousness, and different things might help our consciousness or hamper our consciousness. I felt like getting a haircut, and at some point I knew I would, but I wasn't planning to shave my head completely. But anyways, we did, so why not? So let's chant a little bit until everyone comes. And I invite you to hit the like, so more people hear about it. That's how the algorithm works. The more likes this video gets in the shortest span of going live, the more it is broadcasted throughout the algorithm. The more people gonna see and join us. Join this party of celebrating Ramachandra's Vijay. Ragupati Raghava Rakshama Atita Pavana Sitaram Raghupati Raghava Rakshama Atita Pavana Sitaram Ragupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Ragupati Raghava Rakshama Patita Pavana Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Yeah, I hear your invitation, White Chocolate. Thanks. Where are you from in Canada, by the way? I used to live personally in Vancouver, in Montreal, and my family actually is from Winnipeg. St. John's, New Brunswick. Never been further east than Montreal, so that'll be definitely an interesting journey. Atita Pavana Sitaram Ragupati Raghava Rakshama Atita Pavana Sitaram Ragupati Raghava Rakshama Atita Pavana Sitaram Sitaram Atita Pavana Sitaram 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 Atita Pavana Sitaram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hey Christoph, Bestos. I'm not sure actually if it's the same Christoph. Are you the Christoph from Germany? Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Precharine. Yes, that's right, Kinox. Prabhupada. Niveshisha Shunyavadi Asetya Disetlarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Enrique. Vijayotsava. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. Thank you, Henry. Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gorantai 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 Jaya Gorantai Jaya Gorantai 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 Jaya Gorantai Jaya Ramachandra 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 Hanuman Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. Thank you everybody for acknowledging my new haircut. Yeah, it's interesting timing. Actually, as I started chanting, the sun, actually this is the first time the sun shines exactly to this direction. So and that's kind of what I find the most interesting about Vedic Sanatan Dharma tradition of celebrating holidays and everything that is in the calendar coordinates so much with nature and new beginnings, new ends. Nice to see you, Narayan from Bangladesh. Movie action, love you too. Cheryl, nice to see you. I think Cheryl, you're from South Africa, right? Any other viewers? Let me know in the comments where you're from, by the way. I'm here now in Florida. Okay, I hear that Charlene, you have some distressful situation. If you have something that you or anyone who would like to discuss with me, anything in like a more personal setup, I do offer personal consultations. And if you email me at RamaLunin@gmail.com, we can either discuss it through email or set up a one-on-one appointment. So either Charlene or anyone else who is interested, don't be shy. You can hit me up, say where you're from, and what you would like to discuss, and I'll get back to you. Okay, your family is not in favorable to your you stepping on this path of understanding who is Krishna. Yes, it's certainly that something we can discuss. Recently, that's actually something I wanted to update you, or more specifically, thank to everyone who joined the workshop on Sunday. On Sunday, I had my very first workshop webinar that I conducted. I advertised that through some of the last videos. And the workshop was about how to find balance in relationships, in finances. Like some of you, I've seen some of you ask me about how do I manage the finances and things like that. And we have, as spiritual people, we have so many limiting beliefs, right, around money, around our family, around our society, around the community, around other beliefs, around other spiritual paths. What to do when we meet someone from another circle, and these things can really drain us, can really put us a strain, can really be a real obstacle. And I'm really grateful for the people who did participate and join. It was last Sunday. And the next workshop, I'm going to announce on the next workshop in the next video. I'm going to be speaking in the next video about the difference between humility and humiliation. And when that video is uploaded, you're going to know about the next workshop. If some of you wanted to participate, but you were perhaps a bit shy to message me, or you did message me and you didn't join, no worries. I'm planning to launch workshops like that between every now and then, between 2 weeks to up to a month, maybe even twice a month. And also, what I do find very inspiring in my path at the moment is to help you, anyone who on some particular spiritual path, doesn't matter what is your spiritual path, to find balance between material and spiritual life, to find a place where you can really thrive from spiritually and materially. Meet yourself where you at. Which religion where I I come from, like, I would say, like, maybe like a Jewish tradition, but even that Jewish tradition was pretty much secular. Like, we didn't really follow anything, and my parents were not really attached to that. My parents actually, they went quite a lot to India when I was young, and they were experimenting with different types of spirituality. So when it comes to my family, they're pretty open to the idea. And after all, if you take aside the religious or difference in belief, the lifestyle that Krishna consciousness promotes, lifestyle in the mode of goodness, is common to all religions, all traditions, all civilized nations. Basically, if they take to the lifestyle of rising up early, being clean habits internally and externally, truthfulness, all these different things, it will make someone a better Christian, better Muslim, better Jew, better Democrat, better Republican. As we're approaching the upcoming elections here in the States, right? There's so many differences, but ultimately we all want to do good to ourselves, good to others. That's why we're so passionate. The thing that we know the most passionate about, the thing that we believe is the best for others. So, okay, yeah, I hear you have more inquiries, and I hear some urgency to really, from you, Shirley, to address the situation and understand how to go from it, because it's really disturbing, right? If your own family, the people that you love, have it's an obstacle for them to to be keen with you. It's definitely something that I can imagine how it must sit heavy on your heart. Please don't hesitate. You can email me and we can set up either like a consultation or speak about it through email. I'll be glad to help each and one single of you, whatever your issue is, or you just want someone that will hear you, or you want to be heard and understood. I'm working now developing my coaching practice, so I will be more than glad to serve you in that propensity. And okay, let's go back to our celebration today. We're celebrating Ramachandra's Vijay, and right, that's the day where Ramachandra, he killed Ravan, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's what I remember. And why don't we read a little passage from that? The final battle. And I have this chapter 370. We're going to read from Krishna Dharma's book, Krishna Dharma, and see what comes up for us. How this very special day meets us in our personal journey. It's kind of dark here. Let me turn on the light. You're welcome, Charlie. Don't hesitate to send me a message. All right. It's still kind of dark. Never mind. But 370. That'll be the very end of the Ramayana. The final battle. As Ravana treated in fear, Rama went back to Lakshman. He dropped down by his side and cradled the prince's head in his hands. Lakshman didn't appear to be breathing. Choked by tears, Rama spoke aloud, giving vent to his grief. Oh, how painful it is to see my beloved brother in such state. My strength is deserting me as I look upon him lying here. Even if I win this fight, I will feel no joy at all without Lakshman. Indeed, this prince has followed me through thick and thin. If he has now departed from the region of death, for the regions of death, then I too shall follow him. Yeah, some big agony there. Lakshman is, I think he was injured, right, by the opposite party, and Hanuman is just about to go and bring the sacred weeds, right? What's the name of the weeds? Can anyone remind me? I don't remember. Rama lamented loudly for some time. What would he say? Sanjeev, no? Or something like that? Is that the name of the weed? Don't remember. Rama lamented loudly for some time. What would he say to Sumitra if he returned without Lakshman? How could he face Bharat and Shatrughna? Surely they would censure him for failing to protect his younger brother. It would be better to give up his own life than hear the reapproaching of those most dear to him. Rama fell weeping to the ground. Hanuman raised him up and confronted him. He called for Shushushan, the Varana physician. Perhaps Lakshman would respond to his treatment of celestial herbs. Here are the herbs. Sanjiva, yes, okay. I haven't read all the Ramayana yet, but certain things I heard from here and there, and yeah, it's a very interesting passage. I'm glad you all joined me for this sort of like a book club, basically. That's kind of, I guess, that's what we're having here. If some of you are not aware, we actually started a book club around the Bhagavad Gita. You can still join. You can join all the time. You can just try it out and go out if you wish so. It's on Saturdays, three times of a month. And if you're interested, you can either search on my channel Book Club Invitation, or just email me and say that you're interested, and I'll send you more information about it. It's specifically for my supporters here on Patreon here on the YouTube membership program and on Patreon. Hanuman raised him up to comfort him. Yes, we read that. He looked up at Ram and said, "Your brother still lives. See how his bodily luster has not departed, and I can detect the movement of his life air and the beat of his heart, but he needs urgent treatment." Shushan asked for more of the celestial herbs which Hanuman had fetched from the Himalayas. The herbs were bought quickly, and Shushan administered them up to Lakshman. By the divine power of the herbs, some Jivakarani. Okay, that's the full name. I guess Tanjif, it's like the partial name. Sam Jivakarani, the prince slowly returned to the consciousness. Then Shushan carefully administered the herbs Vishyakarani and Samadhi, which together healed. Oh, there are a few herbs actually. Just see, it's not just one herb. By the divine power of the herb Samjivakarani, the prince slowly returned to consciousness. Then Shushan carefully administered the herbs Vishakarani and Samadhi, which together healed Lakshman grievous wounds and repaired his bones. Slowly he sat up and looked around. Ram was overjoyed. He pressed Lakshman to his bosom with tears in his eyes and said, "By good fortune you have been saved from the jaws of death. If you had died, I would not have been able to carry on this fight." So let's go a bit further to the actual part of Ramachandra killing Ravan. Okay, with his 10-head bow here. Here it comes. Ravan, realizing that Ram was being assisted by his mortal enemy, Indra, became even more enraged. He fired a celestial missile which unleashed hundreds of thousands of dreadful-looking serpents. Their wide-open mouths, vomiting fire, writhing and hissing, they came from all sides and sped towards Ram. As the venomous snakes descended upon him, Ram at once invoked weapon presided over by Garuda. A shower of arrows shot from his bow, turning as they flew in golden eagles, with fierce talons and sharply curved beaks. The mystical angles introspected and destroyed all of Ravana's serpents. The demon roared furiously. He struck Matili. I don't know what is that. Matili and all of his steeds with the forcibly torrents of shafts with red-hot steel heads. That sounds pretty scary. The Rakshasa then set a huge crescent-headed arrow, which tore down the chariot's golden standard. He followed this with countless other straight-flying arrows that struck Ram on every part of his body. In seconds, Indra's great chariot was completely covered by Ravana's arrows, so that no part of it was visible. With his 10 heads and massive bow, Ravan stood in his chariot, looking like the Mainika mountain risen from the ocean. Observing the demon overwhelming Rama with his arrows, the gods and rishis felt disappointed. The monkeys became fearful, and they observed grim-looking omens. The sun became dim, and the sea toasted with waves that seemed to rise up to the sky. Jackals howled, and ghosts and wraiths darted about on the battlefield. So intense was Ravan's assault that Ram was unable to lift his bow and feed his arrows. Ram's eyes turned crimson with rage. He began to think
of the destruction of the entire race of the Rakshasas. With expertise, Matili drove the chariot upwards and away from the hail of Ravan's arrows. It burst forth like the sun emerging from a cloud. The gods showered blessings on Ram, while the Dityas and Davanas uttered benedictions upon Ravan. Hey, Hare Krishna Kumar, nice to see you. All the members who either watch it or watch the rebroadcast or are here with us live, thank you for your presence. Yeah, so we are reading from the final battle from Krishna Dharma's translation of the Ramayana, which is Valmiki's Ramayana. And yeah, Rama is about to fight Ravan directly. The demon at once threw the dart. It flashed through the air, covered by a circle of lightning and emanating a defeating scream. Ram instantly sent 100 arrows to the dart, but they were defeated and fell useless to the ground. Without long losing a moment, Ram took up Indra's celebrated javelin. He forcefully hurled it and flew like a dazzling meteor straight at the dart. Struck by the divine lance, Ravana's weapon was split apart and dropped to the earth. The javelin, giving off a celestial sound from the bells tied around it, returned again to Indra's chariot. Rama immediately followed that feat by sending a fierce volley of arrows at the demon. They struck Ravana in all his limbs and pierced his 10 heads. The demon blazed with anger and replied with an equal number of his own arrows. Rama introspected Ravan's arrows, while simultaneously continuing to strike him. The Rakshasa then released an even greater number of shafts, which penetrated Rama's defense and pierced through his armor. With blood shining on his breast, Rama looked like a great Kimshuka tree in full blossom. Neither opponent could easily see the other, so great was the number of arrows filling the air. Rama pulled clear of Ravan's attack and laughed hurriedly. He spoke loudly to the demon. "You are proud of your strength, O Rakshasa, but it will not save you now. Indeed, since you stole away my consort while I was not present, you cannot be considered heroic. You are a shameless coward given over the vanity alone, vaunting yourself as a hero. Had you tried taking Sita from my presence, you would not be alive today. By good fortune, I see you now on the battlefield. Prepare to receive the results of your despicable and evil acts, O vile one. Carnivorous bird and beast will soon feast upon your flesh and blood." Yeah, so we're going forward with this great battle, and Ravan is about to get slain. Thanks, White Chocolate, for recommending everyone to like the video and help the algorithm send this video, this live stream, to everyone else, so they can join us. Hit that like. While with redoubled strength, Ram then sent wave upon wave of arrows straight at Ravan. The prince felt increased enthusiasm for the fight. He invoked all celestial missiles and then immediately appeared before him on the battlefield in great joy. Ram fired the weapons at the demon one after another. He recited the enunciation with full concentration as he released his arrows. Charged with the mystic power of divine astras, the arrows tore into Ravan and sent him reeling. As he struggled about on his chariot, the Rakshasa was showered with rocks and trees by the monkeys. The demon was reduced to a sorry plight. Being unable to lift his bow or do anything in his defense, he sank down on the floor of his chariot. Seeing this, his chariot veered away from the fight and retreated. So his chariot, Ravan's chariot, is already down. Hmm. Okay, so let's see how the battle continues. How Ramachandra gonna actually defeat the great demon Ravan. Ravan was beside himself with fury. He accused the charioteer of siding with the enemy and ordered him to return immediately to Ram's presence. The charioteer replied that he had only done what he felt was his proper duty. Ravan had been completely overpowered by Raman's weapons. Out of affection, he had desired to save his master's life. Citing verses from scripture supporting his action, the charioteer begged Ravan's forgiveness. The demon was appeased. He nodded at his charioteer and commanded him to return with all speed to the fight. Urged on by Ravana, the charioteer lashed his horses within a few moments. The charioteer stood again before Ram. Okay, so the battle continues. On the battlefield, Ram was himself expressing his exhaustion from the fight. In the heavens, the great Rishi Agastya Muni saw this and desired to assist him. Agastya Muni had been observing the battle from the sky along with the gods. He now descended to Rama's chariot and spoke to him. O mighty armed Ram, please listen as I tell you the secret of highly confidential prayers. The Aditya Hirda, this prayer will invoke the powerful spiritual energy from the heart of the sun. This is the very effulgence of the Supreme Lord Vishnu himself. With his power, one can overcome any obstacle and destroy to the roots all one's enemies. Agastya instructed Ram how to recite the prayer, which would summon the combined power of all gods, emanating from the bodily rays of Vishnu with the power of Rama, would be able to quickly overcome Ravan before nightfall, when the demon's own power would be doubled. Yeah, very much connect to Rama receiving the special prayer. Specifically, kind of what awaits me. I occasionally go and get like an advice from a good mentor of mine, and he is by profession he's in a Vedic astrologer, and he gave me that sort of prediction that in the next following year, I will find a very nice community, and in the same time, I'll get many enemies. And considering how the channel grows, I guess it's kind of makes sense, right? Because you cannot make, just 100,000 friends without making some enemies, right? So this is something that I definitely take from this reading, and up until this point at least, how even Krishna himself, he gets a prayer to help him to deal with enmity, with different obstacles on his path. So what to speak about us, right? We all need some special benedictions. Thanks, Enrique, for acknowledging. Okay, let's continue. And Rama and Ram fought vehemently for hours without interruption, exchanging blow and blow for blow. Neither felt wearied nor inclined to give up an inch to the other. Those observing the fight felt their hair standing on end. No one could take their eyes off the furious fighters as they battled restlessly seeking victory. Ravan sent 20, then 60, then 100, and then thousands arrows at Ram, aiming at his vital parts or seeking to kill the charioteer and his horses. Ram responded with twice that number, digging shafts into Ram's steeds and charioteer, while at the same time constantly covering the demon. Even after fighting for half a day, wow, just imagine. Neither seemed to have the upper hand. Ravan then composed himself and at once invoked the Rakshasa Astra, embodying it with all his mystic potency. Okay, it seems that it takes another level now, the fight. Immediately the air was filled with thick shower of every kind of weapon. The entire globe seemed to shake and the ocean became agitated. Serpents and devils appeared screaming in the sky and emitting fire from their mouths. The sun lost its brilliance and the wind ceased to blow. In the heavens, the gods themselves became fearful and cried out, "May all be well with the worlds." With full concentration, Rama again invoked the Gandharva Astra, which caused hundreds of thousands of arrows to appear and counter Ram's weapon. Those awful and demonic missiles fell into the ground and burned up, being pierced by Ravan's fiery shafts. The battle between Rama and Ravan could only be compared to itself. Such a fight had never been seen at any time, even by the gods. They watched anxiously as Rama came under repeated fierce attacks from the Lord of the Rakshasas. Rama remained calm. He took from his bow a huge razor-headed arrow that resembled a venomous serpent, and in an instant fitted and fired the arrow at Ravan. That arrow imbued the mystic power, divided into 10 and tore off the demons' heads. But they immediately grew again. Ram sent another weapon, which again severed the Rakshas's head, and again they grew back. So Ravan's head is just like not giving up. Quite a mystic power and quite a demon to conquer. Ravan struck 100 heads, but the demon remained standing without slowing his attack for even a moment. Rama contemplated this wonderful phenomenon. How was this demon to be killed? No weapon seemed to be able to take his life. It looked like the fight might go on forever. Vishabhan quickly approached Ram. He told him that the demon had boon from Brahma, that his heads and arms could never be destroyed. That kind of reminds me of Hiranyakashipu, right? He too had a boon from Brahma. Brahma is really causing a lot of disturbance in the universe. In Ravan's heart was a store of celestial nectar which renewed his life in his body. The only way to kill him was to strike his heart with the divine weapon that could dry up the nectar. And Rama considered his next move. All the while raining arrows upon Rav, Matili turned to Ram and spoke, "O Rama, the time for this one's death has come. Recall now the prayer of Agastya told you. Agastya also gave you an arrow when you were in the forest. Imbue the arrow with the force of the Brahmastra and kill the demon by piercing his heart." Okay, so Ram gonna send a Brahmastra now to kill Ravan, to pierce his heart. Okay, are you ready? Accepting Matila's advice, Ram remembered the celestial arrow which Agastya had given him long ago in the forest. At once he appeared in his hand and fitted his bow. Its shaft was made of ether and its weight consisted of Mandara and Meru mountains. The wind god presided over his shaft, the fire gods over its plumes, and the sun god was installed in its point. It looked like the road of the universal destruction ridden by the time spirit himself. Ram again chanted the Aditya Hridaya prayer and then invoked the infallible Brahmastra. Okay, we are about to reach the point that we were all waiting for. As Ram drew back the arrow, he shone so brilliantly that no one could look at him. He released the weapon, and it flew at Ravan, lighting up the earth and sky and roaring like tumultuous ocean. It struck the demon on his chest, even as he stood firing his own weapons at Rama. Piercing right through his heart, the arrow emerged from Ravan's body, soaked in blood, and entered the earth. Ravan whirled and around and let out a cry which seemed to shake the entire creation. His bow dropped from his head, and he fell from his charioteer like a mountain struck by the Indra's thunderbolt. The Rakshasas fled, panically striking in every direction. They shed tears and grief on seeing their lord slain. The monkeys leaped about, chasing the fleeing Rakshasas and shouting with joy. The sounds of the drums and other celestial instruments sounded from the sky. Delightful breezing blew on the battlefield, carrying heavenly odors. A dazzling shower of brilliant flowers fell from the sky and covered Rama's chariot. The gods and rishis praised Rama, who stood blazing with splendor. The battle was over. Rama climbed down from the chariot and was surrounded by Lakshman, Sugriv, Hanuman, Angada, Jambavan, and Vibhishan, who all praised and cheered him for his incredible feat. Haribol, Shri Ramachandra Vijay Ki Jai. Epic. So whoever stayed here from the very beginning and heard the text, or whoever just joined and witnessed this ecstatic reading, thank you so much. It was amazing. And let me know down in the comments to the video or in the live chat if you're interested in more readings like that pertaining to specific festivals. Raghupati Raghava Raghupati Raghava Raghupati Raghava Raghupati Raghava Rakshama Patita Pavana Sitaram Raghupati Raghava Rakshama Patita Pavana Sitaram 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 Patita Pavana Sitaram 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 Patita Pavana Sitaram Raghupati Raghava Rakshama Patita Pavana Sitaram. Jai Shri Ram Kumar, thank you for joining. Krishna Krishna Hare Thank you so much for joining, everybody, participating here in the reading. How we just finished reading how Lord Ramachandra killed Ravan and finished the battle. And whoever just joined now, no worries, you can watch the rebroadcast. Watch the rebroadcast from the part of the reading. We read from Krishna Dharma's edition of the Ramayana. And till the next time, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell to know when the next live stream is coming up, or the next video where I'm going to be announcing on the next workshop. We just had a really cool workshop this last Sunday, and it was amazing. Thank you everyone who came to that workshop and participated. I'm looking forward for more workshops like that, sharing about really the intricacies of spiritual life, and supporting you all, and feeling and appreciating your support. Yes, I'm doing excellent, Parash. Thank you so much. Just got a new haircut. Hare Krishna. I'll see you all in the next stream. Ram Ram. Jai Shri Ram.